Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back.
I'm super excited to be here with you today.
You're always super excited.
Number one reason, we're in a brand new studio. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's some multicolored walls
Looks
happening.
pretty similar, I think.
There's a door behind me that is kind of in the shot. I don't know.
Most people are listening anyway, but this is our new studio at the Realty One Group office.
Oh, that's exactly right.
That's right.
And you may or may not know why. If you don't know why,
stay tuned.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Stay tuned. We'll talk about that and a lot more during this program. We kind of unveiled it in last week's program.
Yeah.
But it's a new year, right. New you, new Realtor. Who dis?
I like it. And I've got some questions for you today.
Okay. The Session with Londa and David is a business-focused podcast that talks a lot about you and what's important to your business. And it's brought to you each and every week by Sherwood Austin Homes. You know, with interest rates coming back down and talk of inflation going down on every single major newscast in the nation, the real estate market, believe it or not, Londa, is heating up. Here it comes. Don't wait until April to take advantage of the momentum building in the market right now. Sherwood Austin Homes can help you buy and sell real estate for yourself and for your business. If you'd like to know how much your home is worth or how much buying power you have, or even whether or not it makes sense to relocate your business, Sherwood Austin Homes would like to be your first choice. Email Londa at SherwoodAustin.com. That's Londa at SherwoodAustin.com, or feel free to email David at SherwoodAustin.com. That's David at SherwoodAustin.com. Let's find out if a move in 2024 makes sense with Sherwood Austin Homes, powered by Realty One Group Ignite.
Which is where we are right now.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so I'm on a little bit of a high because I just had lunch with two of my best girlfriends, and it was so fun.
That's fun.
Oh, my gosh. So if Michelle and Camille, if you're listening, thank you for such a marvelous time. I love those ladies. I love being in a place in my life where I have close girlfriends. It's never been something that I really had over the years necessarily. So I love it. They are so valuable to me, and hopefully I am to them. But so now we're coming and doing our podcast, and it's very fun for me. And the subject matter today, very exciting as well, because I want to dive a little deeper into your new venture.
Okay.
We're sitting now in our joint office.
That's right.
At Realty One Group in Kennewick, Washington.
Yep.
If you could see behind us, which you can't, but if you could, you'd see my desk, David's desk.
Your desk is over there.
Yes.
My camera's right in front of your desk. And of course, my desk is over there.
That's right. And so we moved our studio in here. We are the one-stop shop now, all together, all the time. It's David and Londa 24/7. I've had a few people ask me, like, what's that going to be like working with David? Are you guys sharing an office and you're together all the time? And I said, well, it'll be like the last 4 years has been.
Right.
Because this 2024 in March is exactly 4 years after the COVID restrictions came into place, and we were forced to be together 24/7. And what we discovered,
best thing ever,
is it works. Works really well for us. We absolutely love it. So I'm very excited to be here with you, sharing an office with you. We're both very loud on the telephone.
That's true. I yell, sorry.
I yell as well. And so, but it's fun though. We can bounce ideas off each other and, you know, be able to collaborate a little faster and easier. And it was never more obvious than on last Friday morning, just a couple days ago, we took a client out to see homes.
Right.
And because you are a lender.
Right.
But now also a licensed realtor.
Correct.
I'm a realtor. If this is your first time here, now you are caught up. So we took this client out to view homes. It was the first time we went and showed homes together.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, the advantage that our clients are going to have was never more evident than in that appointment.
Sure.
I thought, oh my gosh, because we're standing in this house and the client is saying, well, okay, at this price, and what would I need down, and what would the payments look like?
Right.
And you grabbed your
HP 12C calculator and just did
said,
it for
well,
her.
let's just figure it out.
Right.
Right there. I mean, talk about being super serviced.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's the deal. I'm not trying to do loans on customers that are my real estate customers.
No, she was already your lending client,
Right.
and
That's
my
exactly
real
right.
estate client.
That's exactly right.
And she thinks we're the bee's knees, and so that's why we were together on that appointment.
Here's why getting my real estate license was important to me in 2024. My goal.
This was one of my questions for you.
My goal in November, when I went to my every year training for lenders, we have to do retraining and recertification every year, right?
Sure,
like
continuing
nine
education
credit
kind of
hours,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
We were there talking, and another lender in the office and I started talking about why not do both, because there's a lot of opportunity for us to generate our own business, and why are we just giving it away? And I've gone over the top to not steer business to you.
Yeah.
Because here's why. I actually do financially benefit if you get a deal from me. Mm-hmm. So that's a disclosure piece, and I don't want there to be any look of impropriety.
Right.
So I have purposely sent leads that I get, and believe me, as a lender, you don't get a ton of leads, but you have a ton of past customers that call you, right? So I've gone out of my way over the last 4 years to not steer business your way, because I want other realtors that I have relationships with to feel good about our relationship, right? Well, I realize as there's been a slight turn down in the market in 2023, I'm leaving a lot of money on the table.
That was a generous...
Well, right. You know, new purchases are down like 22% year to date, right? So it makes sense to keep a little bit more on the family table than to just give away. Mm-hmm. And what that means is I'm not going to actively pursue realtors for business anymore. I'm going to generate business, and I have a 20-year-old book of past customers who still call me. So those are the people that I'm going to be doing loans for primarily. Mm-hmm. There will be some investors who say, listen, let Londa be the realtor of note on this deal, because I just want to work with the two of you. It's a no-brainer. I don't want to go anywhere else. And those deals I will do.
Right.
But I will not be the listed realtor on that deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I don't want there to be any hint of impropriety. Even though it's legal and ethical, I don't want there to be any, any look of doing something wrong, even though it is perfectly fine to do both. Okay. You just have to disclose that you're doing both.
Enough explanation.
Okay.
Nobody thinks you're a crook. Anyone who knows you knows that you operate in integrity. So I do have a few questions, though.
Okay.
So in November, when you were in your continuing education class and that came up, was that the first time you ever thought about getting into the realtor side of the business?
It's the first time I thought seriously about it, and walked out of that class and signed up like 2 days later for real estate classes.
So when you say it's the first time you ever thought seriously about it, that says to me, I have thought about it before, but maybe not seriously.
Well,
so
here's what I thought about before.
That.
Before, I've seen people doing real estate deals that I have had to carry across the finish line.
Sure.
And I've thought to myself, I don't know what I'm missing. What am I missing? Because the stuff that I've had to do on real estate deals over the last 20 years has been considerable, right? Mm-hmm. With new construction, I've helped people decide to buy. Right? I've sold more houses with a local builder who's now retired, as he says, than his sales team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While I didn't make any money from it, except for the loans that I got to do on the backside of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why not is what I've always thought. Well, here's why not. I get my business from other agents and their customers. That's why not. Well, when we move back to town, people are holding it tight to the vest because there's not a ton of extra business. It's not houses having 16 offers in a weekend like we've seen in the past. Mm-hmm. So there are fewer deals going around.
Right.
And with that said, why not let me, David, go get some of those deals?
Yeah, why not?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I thought seriously about it.
It brings me to an interesting topic that I was discussing at this lunch and have been discussing with people more often recently, which is creating multiple streams of income.
Right.
And of course, we've known for years, the experts, quote experts, say you should have 7 different streams of income.
Sure.
We've all read the books. We've all been to the training. We've all been to the seminars and whatever. But we're now seeing, I'm now seeing in my own life for sure, multiple streams of income being a huge benefit. And it's really how we survived the last 3 years.
Sure. Being
away, kind of on vacation for 3 years.
Right.
We had several different streams of income. And thankfully, so continuing that. And to me, this just makes sense. So I would say for anyone listening, one thing to take away from this particular episode is do it. Try it.
Yeah.
Why not?
We've said on this program several times, you're not trapped. Yeah. If there's something you want to do, you absolutely can do it. And me getting my real estate license is kind of putting my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've been thinking about it, not seriously, not actively trying to do it. I thought about it and then ruled it out because what do you do?
I can tell you've been talking about it for at least 4 years.
Well, sure, because I think...
in all the time I've been around.
Because I think what you do is fun.
Yeah.
The way you interact with your clients, I think it's fun. And that is magic, right? And I'm a people person.
Right.
And let me tell you, lending has a lot of problem solving built in, cooked in, but not a ton of people. The way you get business as a lender is you take realtors on dates for lunch and for coffee, and you earn their trust, build a relationship with them, and then they feed you loans. They feed you customers. It's not a direct-to-consumer business in most cases.
I would say today, more than ever, there is an opportunity for being direct to consumer.
Well, and it needs to be because a lot of realtors are getting out of the business. A lot of realtors left in 2023 and didn't renew at the beginning of 2024.
Mass exodus at the end of 2023 for
That's
both
what I mean,
realtors and lenders.
Right. And
which great. Bye.
And I'm duly licensed and I'm not going anywhere. The only difference is I will no longer be able to do government-backed loans because that's a rule in place. So HUD says no, but Fannie and Freddie love conventional for David.
Love that for you.
Yeah.
And I love the relationships that you've built with lenders in the community and all over the nation over these last 20 years.
Yeah.
That's the thing. One thing I think most people don't realize is we have connections with realtors and lenders all over the country.
Right.
And so no matter where you are in the U.S., if you need a realtor or lender, you can always reach out to us because we can put you in touch with someone that we know, that we trust.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? And so the networking piece of it has been very important.
Sure.
And anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but just, being well connected is of benefit to our people as well.
Sure.
Somebody
asked me today, and it was kind of an interesting question. This person said, David, what makes you an alpha male? And I don't really know what that means, but my answer is my secret sauce is kindness. I believe that the goal of any person in any industry anywhere is to be kind and treat others the way they want to be treated. And if you can do that, you'll win. Money follows that behavior.
Right.
So be kind. There's no magic. Just be kind.
Right.
Treat people like they are the most important person in the room when they're in the room with you, and they will know it. And they'll believe it.
Right. Yeah.
And it doesn't take any work for me. That's my secret sauce. I am just more interested in other people than myself.
Which has just very little to do with the concept of alpha male, but that is your personal secret sauce.
Right, because I don't really know what it means to be an alpha male. I don't really understand that at all. That's not language that I associate with myself, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like to be the kindest guy in the room who listens better than anybody else. Mm-hmm. That's what I like to be.
Yeah.
And I like to entertain people. So if there's room for that, I'd love to do that for you too.
For sure. That's actually so accurate. Wow. Yeah. So what are you hoping for 2024? You know, we've been, you've all been doing it, your goal planning, your New Year's resolutions, your business plan, whatever, since some starting as early as October,
right,
and some just now getting started. And I would tell you, it doesn't matter when you start, as long as you start.
That's right.
So what are your plans for 2024?
To help as many people as I can solve their problems and to make that profitable. That's what my 2024 looks like.
What does that look like?
Well, you know what? To hit my financial goals, I need to do a minimum of 20 real estate transactions. That's it, just 20.
Okay.
I'm not shooting for the stars. I'm not trying to do 1,000 real estate deals. But if I do 1,000 real estate deals, I'm not going to be sad about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I will probably do between 10 and 20 lending transactions this year as well, because I don't want to do it as my primary business. I want my primary business to be the real estate side of my business.
Okay.
And my secondary business to be lending.
Okay.
Because I've done lending as a primary vocation for 20 years.
Right.
And I'd much rather be the realtor who knows more about what's happening in the transaction than any other realtor, than a lender who's really good at lending.
Do you think it's really the people piece of it that you have missed out on?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you joke that when we have a customer in common, I want to go to the baby showers afterwards, and I want to go to the open houses.
And I want to send a nice thank you note and a gift.
That's right. So for me, it is the people piece. And I think that's why I've had so much repeat business in my lending business for the years that I've been doing it, because I am a people person. You know, I think statistically, everybody knows like 11 realtors, and statistically everybody does 2 to 4 loans in their lifetime. The majority of people forget who their lender is in the first 6 months. That was something that the HomeBot company, which they're a service that sends people home updates, home valuation updates. That's how they sold their service to many lenders. Hey, the majority, like 80%, do not remember their lender in 6 months.
I had this lender about 14 years ago. I never forgot him.
Yeah. Welcome. That's me. So for me, the people part's the most important part.
Right.
Always.
What would you say to someone who's sitting, you know, where at home, or they're on the treadmill, or they're, you know, driving in the car, and they're
Greg Frechette right now is driving in his truck.
They're listening to this podcast, and they're thinking, you know, I've always wanted to do XYZ, and I've never pulled the trigger on it, but it's just like this nagging thing that won't go away in the back of their mind. What would you say to that person?
Well, here's the deal. And I said it today to somebody who, when he decided to get into lending, thought, you know what, maybe real estate or lending, I don't know. And had all the same kind of, I like people, I want to deal with people, feelings. And he got into lending. So this is what I said to him today. Bro, get duly licensed. You can do the people stuff. Do it. If you want to do it, you've always thought about it, you should do it. He happens to be the lender I was talking to in that class. And I said, you and I, bro, we should leave here and go get licensed. We should leave today.
Right.
And it only took me 2 days to actually sign up for the class. And then it only took me 16 days to finish the class.
Okay. So not focusing on real estate and lending, anybody that's sitting there thinking, God, there's this thing that's just been nagging at me forever.
Right. Do it.
Do it.
For sure. What's the harm? What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing?
I don't know.
Well, if it's criminal,
that would be individual.
If it's criminal, the worst thing's jail. But if it's not criminal, the worst thing is you don't succeed.
Sure.
Okay. That's the worst thing.
Right.
Tried it. Whoopsie doodle. You know?
Yeah. You either fail or you learn, right?
Or you decide after not failing, this isn't for me.
Right.
People do that all the time. And they don't want to admit it, so they stay in it for longer than they should.
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean? If let's say you decide you're going to move across the country and become a winemaker. If you don't love it, you've sold everything you own. You're now living in a space making wine. If you don't love it, what do you do? Well, I would sell
it and
whatever it is
something else.
and go do something else.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We know people who have done that kind of thing as a leap of faith and loved it.
Right.
And they're having the times of their lives. Well, you're never going to know if you could do that unless you do it.
I actually know another story similar to that. They did that, found out they didn't love it.
Right.
Did the best they could. And we actually met with them. And I want to keep this very anonymous.
Okay.
But we met with them at their winery, and they said, we're thinking about selling it. What do you think? And I said, spend the next year doubling down on this and this, because these are the things that are bringing you profit.
Right.
And drive up your profit margins to make it more valuable, and then sell. And that's exactly what they did. And now, they're sitting on a fat stack of cash, and somebody else who absolutely loves it is running the place, and they're home free to go do something else.
That's cool.
So, and the thing is, like, even if you don't do that, even if let's say you lose everything financially.
I don't even know what you could lose.
Let's say you strike out on something, and it was your dream, and it doesn't turn out the way you thought it was, and now you're financially busted.
Okay.
And now you're like, oh, well, great. Now what do? I tried it, and now here I am. And listen, if you've done it once, you can do it again.
That's right.
Also, if somebody else has done it, you can do it.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, we get sad and depressed and down on ourselves because we feel in our mind that we've failed at something.
Right.
But the thing is, I always think this, all you have to do is put one foot in front of the other.
Right.
Just one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
If you did it once, you can do it again. If somebody else did it, you can do it.
Sure.
So you just pick yourself up and you go back to work and
Right.
you do it. And all you lack is inspiration.
Right.
That's it. Inspiration, motivation. I heard a story recently of somebody who moved to another state to follow love.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out. Came back to where they were originally from, financially devastated.
Okay.
Because the move had cost them, so much. And then the relationship didn't work out. Went back to where they originally came from. Got into a sales position. And is killing it. And the sales managers who I was talking to, I said, why do you think they're killing it? And they said, the guy's got no choice.
Right.
He's got no choice. He came back financially devastated.
Right.
There's nothing like hunger.
That's exactly
to
right.
motivate you.
When I paid off my last debt, a buddy of mine said, "Oh, we need to get you a boat. That'll keep you motivated. Get you a boat."
Yeah, I disagree, but okay. Debt does not motivate me. It demotivates me.
Yeah. I love being debt free. I think it's great. It's awesome because you can choose what's most valuable to you. And for me, it's time.
Right.
When you have factors that demand your income, then you can't choose.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've always said that money gives you choices.
Absolutely.
I think money gives you time, and debt robs you
That's
of
a
your
choice.
choices and your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being able to decide what to do with your time is a choice.
Right.
That's why I always say choices, right? Money will give you choices in life that to do what you want with your time, with your whatever.
Sure.
Right? So I like having choices. I like having options. I don't like the times in my life where I haven't had options. I haven't had choices because I didn't have a good income, right? So I've done it all. I've been broke as a joke, and I've told some of those stories before. When I started real estate, I had 2 dresses and 1 pair of shoes, right? I had the black dress and the blue dress, and the shoes went with both dresses.
Right.
So I'd show up because, you dress like a lady realtor, right? So you show up, appointment number 1, the blue dress and the shoes. Appointment number 2, it's the black dress and the shoe. Listen, if we've got a third appointment, we're going back to the blue dress. There were no other options. It's all the money I had.
I gotcha. Right?
Somebody asked me the other day, they were trying to figure out how to celebrate a closing. And she said to me, so what did you do when you were this was a new realtor. She said, what did you do when you were a brand new realtor to celebrate your closings? Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Do you think maybe a new pair of shoes? Maybe a fun trip somewhere, maybe a piece of jewelry. No. This is how broke I was and how behind the 8 ball I was and how much I had to, catch up financially.
Right.
Every time I had a closing, I would treat myself to $1.50 8-ounce Americano.
Right.
At a local little drive-through coffee shop,
and
$1.50.
And that same coffee shop today, that Americano's $3.25.
Well,
same Americano.
Whatever the case, but that was my big treat,
right? Because
the office provided coffee. They had a coffee maker,
right,
that just kept it going 24/7.
Sure.
And so I figured I'm already paying for that coffee.
Right.
I'm going to drink that coffee.
Right. Smart.
And so my closing celebration was that $1.50.
Fancy coffee.
8-ounce Americano.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I think my first closing gift that I bought for myself was when I closed on my personal property after my divorce.
Okay.
And I bought myself a pair of Tamara Mellon shoes.
Is that an expensive shoe designer? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tamara Mellon.
Yes.
Were they like a red sole?
No.
I know there are fancy shoes that have a red sole.
No.
What are those?
Christian Louboutin.
Okay.
Yeah. No. They are red shoes, but
okay.
They're my love shoes.
Oh. And they have like wording on them. And I don't know if the wording is black or blue. I can't tell.
The wording is black and it spells out love in different font all over.
I love those shoes.
Yeah, they're very cute.
They are sexy. They're not cute.
They hurt bad.
That's too bad.
They are 2-hour shoes. That's it.
I got you.
But that was the first gift I bought for myself. And that was years after I was in real estate.
Right.
Because my closing gifts to myself weren't to myself. I bought them for other people.
Right.
My closing gifts for my clients got a little better.
I got
My closing gifts for my clients when I was early on in the thing was like, I would do like the day they were moving, I would take them like a Costco pizza.
That's a fun idea.
And a heartful thank you.
And a crisp high five.
I mean, and they were $10, and that was really a stretch for me. Because I was in a deep financial hole when I started and I had to dig my way out. Right. So, so I think, but my heart was in it. My heart was there. I gave them the very best gift that I could give. You know what I mean?
Your service was the very best gift you could give. And then a pizza was nice.
Yeah. And everybody loved it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh, because it's moving day,
and
right?
it's the most thoughtful thing that anybody would ever do.
Yeah.
Because feeding somebody is a warm, personal thing.
In my opinion, there is no greater love than feeding someone
I fully agree.
A beautiful meal.
I fully agree. And Costco pizza is bomb-ass pizza.
Well, on moving day especially.
Right.
Come on.
And you can get a large pizza for like a nickel.
Yeah.
Like they're handing them out on street corners to chimps. That's how free they are.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say anybody who's listening and you're thinking about doing something new, I mean, try it.
Why wouldn't you try it?
Remember when we were kids and you would just jump?
Right. Yep.
You would just jump.
Yeah. That's right.
You would just go. You would just try. And we need to recapture some of that, especially now in our world where this post-COVID world is such a weird time. And there's so much anxiety and so much fear. And listen, I'm preaching to the choir right now because I'm the most anxious person I know. And it is a struggle.
Right.
Okay. So I'm speaking to myself. I'm not condemning anybody. I'm saying link arms with me and let's go get brave and let's try some new things this year.
I love that. I love that.
I do
And
too.
if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, It's been very costly to get licensed as a real estate agent and get logos for Sherwood Austin Homes and get apparel and do all the things that I've done to get licensed. So if you know anybody with a housing problem, I don't care what it is, call me.
Yeah.
Here's my cell phone number. It's 509-438-3125. I've got to hit the ground running. 509-438-3125. If you're a lender buddy of mine, send me a deal. I would love for you to be the first deal I close.
And I would just add this. if anybody who has a real estate question, they just have a question. They don't want to commit to anything.
Sure.
We are very open to answering questions. I just answered a question for an old friend of mine yesterday who lives in a different part of the world, who said, hey, we're building this house and is it, beneficial to have the builder put in this one thing, or do you think it's worth the cost? Here's what it's going to cost. Will it increase the value? What are your thoughts? I did just a little bit of research, got back to him very quickly, and was able to help him, navigate that decision.
Sure.
And I'll never get anything out of that except knowing that I helped somebody, and that's a great feeling. So don't feel like, oh, well, I can't call him because I don't have someone to buy or sell. That's not what it's about.
Right.
I mean, it is about that, but it's not just about that, right?
If your Aunt Gladys in Minnesota has a bad hot water heater,
I know a plumber.
And would love to talk to your Aunt Gladys. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. That's the moral
I actually
of the
can't
story.
remember if Connor is in Minnesota or Wisconsin, but anyway, our son-in-law's brother is a plumber.
I think he's in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin, and thankfully, because they woke up to frozen pipes.
That's exactly
over the
right.
weekend.
Yep.
And I know a lot of you are having struggling with the cold weather. We wish you all the very best. If you need a referral to a contractor of some kind, we always have a list of vetted contractors. And if we don't know someone, we've got access to people who do.
Well, and that's the thing, right? We know so many people because of our years in this industry together that if there's a problem, we'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it.
I love that. There you go. I think that's the other thing I would say is send us your questions, your thoughts, your comments, topics that you want us to discuss.
Sure.
You can email us or text or whatever. And
Londa
we're happy to do
at SherwoodAustin.com. That's Londa at SherwoodAustin.com and David at SherwoodAustin.com.
And hey, check out SherwoodAustinHomes.com and tell us what you think of the website.
Yeah. And there's more work we can do on the website.
We need some opinions on its functionality.
We've got the initial website in.
SherwoodAustinHomes.com.
There you go, SherwoodAustinHomes.com. And don't forget DavidAustinLoans.com. That site still works.
David, this whole episode sounded like a big ad for your guys' business. It sure did. You're welcome. We're quite a resource.
And if you want to find out how to do what we do, feel free to call about that too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
There's always enough to go around.
There absolutely
We're happy to
is.
train someone else.
This has been The Session with Londa and David. See you next week.